How do we share the gospel? How do we begin to you look at four soils. What's the first soil? The path. And the seed falls on the path, and what happens? The birds snatch it. What's the second? Shallow, rocky. The roots go down, but it doesn't have very deep roots, and so it gets scorched in the sun. What's the third soil? No. Well, it's reasonable. Weeds, tares, thorns and tares. So the plant grows, but what happens? It's rendered fruitless. And what was the reason? Worries of life, concerns for other things, and the lure of wealth. Concerns of life, the lure of wealth, and the worries for other things. Those are the things that Jesus have actually identified. The reason why that there's not fruitfulness. So come on, I believe that we are going to start to see. But the last one is the good soil, which is what? 30, 60, and 100-fold. 30, 60, and 100-fold. You see, in these movements, that kind of statistic is not a parable. They're seeing a new Christian come to Christ and then lead like 100 people to Christ. And then next generation upon next generation upon next generation. So, in Luke chapter 10, verse 1 to 9, Jesus tells his disciples to go 2 by 2, pray for laborers, heal the sick, proclaim the gospel, stay with the house of peace, eat and drink what is provided, and declare peace. He also told them not to take provisions, to depend on the harvest and the Holy Spirit. He told them not to greet people on the road. We see that to focus on the mission. He told them not to go house to house. Now, why do you think that Jesus told his disciples not to go house to house? Yep. Start to disciple them. Isn't there an urgency in the harvest when Jesus was sending his disciples out? Why wouldn't he just tell them, go house to house to house to house and just sow as many seeds as you can? Why did he tell them to stay in the house of peace? Focus on the good soil. Because when you develop that person, we're not just simply fishing for fish, we're fishing for fishermen. We're not simply making disciples, we're making disciple makers. And so that person in the neighborhood could become the catalyst to win the entire region. Could this be Jesus' plan that still works today? I'd read that passage a whole bunch of times, but I'd never thought to actually follow it myself. You know, that's what the cool thing is. With the Luke 10 House of Peace search, we're finding that that's one of the most fruitful ways that we can disciple people.